Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio everybody. What is going on? It is Galeriot here, and today we're going to be updating my Danmemo tier list with, of course, the brand new Fina and Crozzo from the Argonaut Volume 2 banner, and we're going to talk about how good they actually are. On top of that, we're going to be checking out the Japanese tier list, and we're going to be comparing and contrasting how my tier list compares to their tier list, especially with the addition of Fina and Crozzo. So, of course, if you guys are going to enjoy today's video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel for more Danmemo content, and let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about the new Fina and Crozzo? Do you guys think you like them? Do you guys think that they could be better? Do you guys think that they're great? Let me know in the comment section down below, and put down a tier list. Put down a tier ranking, I should say. Not a tier list. Don't put the entire tier list down. Put a tier ranking on where you would put Fina and Crozzo. Would you put them in triple S, double S, or any of the other rankings? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say down below. But first and foremost, we will start off with Fina, and we'll talk about where I will place Fina. For me personally, I said this in my video talking about her in my Shiryu Summon and everything. I think she's a triple S unit, in all honesty. I really do think she's a triple S unit, especially with the other triple S units in this ranking, specifically Vesta, Hero Festa Elise, and Thunder Lafia. I genuinely do believe that this Fina is easily in that position. Honestly, she is so good. She is effectively the evolution of these these Lyras, and to an extent she can also be considered as a bit of an upgrade to this Lafia as well, Thunder Lafia. I would say it's more of a side grade when it comes to Thunder Lafia, but in my personal opinion, for Lyra, the two Lyras, it's a straight upgrade. What Fina is capable of doing, especially in a PvP scenario, is phenomenal. I mean, you have to look at it and wonder, like, what were they thinking making this unit, right? You look at what she's capable of doing with the agility control, minus 40% agility, on top of the fact that she's able to reduce the opponent's fire res by 40% and give extra damage by 40% by AoE attacks. It is really, really solid. Not to mention on her second skill, if you are able to go fast, which I mean most Magic teams are capable of doing when set up correctly, you are able to get a free Omni Null as well for one attack each. So one physical attack, one magic attack is completely nullified, giving you that extra bit of survivability on that second turn, especially if you are running into a little bit of a risk of getting a bit of a hit in from the enemy, mid-turn especially. So for me, this Fina is undoubtedly triple S. And the other fact that I want to add as well, the other reasoning as to why I will place her in triple S, is because her PvE skills are also a sight to behold. 200% damage from her her special arts, and her third skill is very, very solid as well, and I think that is going to go a long way, especially in PvE content stages like Familiar Rush and Record Buster, especially like, what I said in my Record Buster video. The Fire Magic team is very, very close to being really solid. It just needs a little bit more and it can get there. And it's the same thing with the Fire Physical team. These two teams are very close to getting to the Power of the Light team. It's just that they're missing units to make that mono physical, mono magic team. You can make a really solid hybrid fire team, but I feel like hybrid teams are just missing that little bit because you're trying to accommodate for two typings, right? So that's the reason why I will say that Fina is a great addition for the Fire Magic team. All it needs is maybe one or two more units to get to that edge, to get to over that line, I feel like. So in my personal opinion, fantastic option. I'm very excited to see how people use her in the upcoming war game season that will be coming out next week. Of course, we will also have other units to test out for next week's war game season, so it is going to be very interesting, of course, right, with the part 3 units coming out and everything. But I do believe Fina will still maintain her triple S position, I think, no matter what, to be quite honest. It is going to be very interesting to see what comes out, but I think it's she's strong enough to maintain that triple S position, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm overrating her a little bit, but I genuinely do believe she's really, really strong, in all honesty. She is phenomenal. Now we move on to the assist tier list, and the assist tier list side, I think it's also very easy that we have to kind of put this Krozo in triple S. Now a part of me actually was considering dumping him down a little bit, to be quite honest, and the reason for that was because of the fact that the alternative option to Krozo, right, is Ray, a non-time limited Ray, of course, right, which means that it's much more easier to get her, and arguably she's a way better unit for PvE contents compared to Krozo. However, that doesn't change the fact that Krozo is our only other alternative, and many people might not even be able to get Ray for a very, very long time because of how tickets are and everything, right? Of course, with the double rates gacha banners we've been getting during the anniversary, only featuring units from the last year, it's much more likelier that people will get this Ray, of course, right? But in my personal opinion, I think one of the biggest issues is that it's still a big pool of units, right? So it's very, very rare for you to potentially be able to pick up this unit, of course, let alone picking her up from a ticket or something, right? So that's something to bear in mind, and that's where I feel like if you go for Krozo and you really want a plus 25% magic unit for your PvE team or something, right? You can go and pick up this Krozo. He'll still be a fantastic option for you, and especially if you are struggling to survive as well, that 25% P-res will always come in handy, of course, right? So there is that fact about Krozo. I feel like he's still solid, but I mean, it's just the same thing as I said with Ariadne. Unless you have, you don't have Felice, or you don't have Ray, then you don't need to go for these units, in my personal opinion. But there's still very, very good options. I still wanted to go for Ariadne because I didn't have Felice, right? So it made sense for me to go for Ariadne. But of course, because I don't have that many magic units and my magic team setups aren't the best, for me, Krozo is kind of a unit that I can be like, okay, I can not worry about him. I'll just try and see if I can get raised over the next couple of weeks and months maybe, and we'll see what happens there, right? And yet another thing as well to note as well, right, is if you do get a Ray, for example, right? Let's say, for example, you do get a Ray. One of the good things about getting Ray, and because she's non-time limited, is that you can use Prism Bonds, which many players should have a decent amount of if you are a mid to long-term player. Like, for example, I have like 5 assist Prism Bonds, right? I think the average player will probably have 2 or 3. So, I mean, as long as you get Ray to +1, +2, beyond that, all you need to do is dump a lot of Prism Bonds and you're good to go, right? So that's also something to bear in mind when it comes to Ray versus Krozo. Krozo, you'd have to use Star Bonds to get him going. So that is also another factor. So Krozo is a more investment based unit, but he's as good as Ray in my personal opinion. Slight differences in terms of his usability in my personal opinion, in terms of the second effect effectively, right? Because of course Ray gives penetration rate, Krozo gives P-res. So that's the only difference there, to be quite honest. Now, with that being said, that is my tier list for Krozo and Fina. I've put them both in Triple S. I'm glad that I've been able to finally put a anniversary unit in Triple S. I know technically Fina doesn't count as an anniversary unit, but she released during the anniversary, so I'll count it as an anniversary unit for now. Because so far, if you look at the bottom, like right below this, right, I mean, look at all the 6th anniversary units. They're literally dominating the top row of Double S for the adventurer side. Of course, in the assist side, I have placed a majority of them in Triple S. Lily, Ariadne, Krozo's in there. Of course, the only ones that I haven't put in, Gareth is also there. The only one I haven't put in Triple S is Loki, and that's because Loki gives only ×1 null, physical, and magic. Honestly, if she gave null, physical, and magic ×2, I'd have to create a new tier, to be quite honest. There would have to definitely be a new tier for that. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, the assists have been in Triple S. The adventures have mainly been in Double S. I'm glad that there's been one unit that I genuinely feel relatively comfortable for putting in Triple S, to be quite honest. So I'm happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that. Now, let's take a look at the Japanese tier list. Now, of course, they have a very different way of ranking units when it comes to the assist side. When it comes to the adventure side, they tend to be quite similar to me. And I genuinely do believe maybe I feel like I have overrated Fina a little bit. We'll have to wait and see, of course. I haven't looked at it. I haven't spoiled myself on where they've ranked the 2 new units. But especially when it comes to the assist side, I genuinely think that they'll probably rate, I think they'll rate Krozo a little bit lower. They'll probably put him in Double S. But let's see now. So let's scroll down and let's see. So Krozo, I knew it. They've put his PvP in A and PvB in Double S, which makes sense, of course. This is what I thought. And Fina, they've put in Double S for both. I think that's fair. I actually also think that's slightly fair, but I also think that's the reason why I like the idea of putting her in Triple S, because both sides of the coin are really, really good. You know, her PvE capabilities, or her player versus boss capabilities, and her player versus player capabilities are both very, very good. So for me, placing her in Triple S isn't a bad idea, and I agree with where they're coming from as well, but I also feel like that's the reason why I would rank her highly. Now let's take a look at Krozo and let's see what they have to say about this dude, because I genuinely believe that this guy is still very solid, but I think their reasoning for putting him a little bit lower is probably going to be the same reasoning as mine. So let's take a look here. An assist character with a very high magic stat. Forge Flame creator Krozo is an assist character who can grant a 25% increase in magic power and physical res to all allies when the limit is broken to the maximum. The skill of Thread of Eternity Ariadne, which appeared earlier, is converted to magic power, and magic res is converted to physical res. So this is basically what they're saying is Ariadne's skill that we got a couple of weeks ago is the exact inversion of Krozo's ability. It's the exact same, but just SCR has changed to magic, physical res has changed, or magic res has changed to physical res, basically. That's the only difference, really. So that's something to bear in mind. So it can be expected to play an active role in similar score-based content, so 7 Zone, Record Buster, and so on and so forth. In addition, the magic attack status is even higher than Ray. So that's a good point that I didn't point out, actually, is that the attack stat, the magic stat of Krozo in his stats sheet, right, is higher than Ray's magic stat. So that can help a little bit. And it has the highest value as well. So I think this is the highest value, magic value we've had in the game. So that's going to be very interesting as well. Become a character. In addition, it is the first assist that can increase the physical res of all allies by 25%, and it works well with the effect of removing the power increase effect of a single enemy, which is a quick reaction effect, and is fully active as an effect to protect allies from physical attacks. Those who focus on score-based content such as the weekly glory challenge, so Record Buster and 7 Zone, and the second assist can give this is the second assist that can give allies a 25% increase in magic power. So basically they're saying if you're focused on Record Buster and you're focused on 7 Zone content and all those type of stuff, this is the second unit only to give a 25% magic increase, and as a result they've said that it is better to summon for this unit to secure him rather than try and go for Ray, who you don't know if you'll get her or not. Another thing that I really like, I didn't even think about it, the magic stat on Krozo is higher than Ray, which not a lot of people think it would make a difference, but it does make a slight difference in all honesty. So that is something to bear in mind. Of course, that is definitely something you should bear in mind when it comes to the unit itself, of course, right? That is something to bear in mind. So yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, he is the highest magic stat unit, first place out of 291 assists, which is insane. Fair enough. Fair play, fair play, fair play. All right, now let's take a look at Fina. Let's see what they say about Fina. Fina is going to be a very interesting unit, I feel. I think there's going to be a lot of comments about her. I want to see what they say. So Fina, double S in PvP, double S in PvE. So let's see here. It is possible to simultaneously grant an ally's buff extension and an enemy's buff reduction to additional actions. So yeah, this is something that I didn't notice actually, and I didn't pay too much attention to, but it actually makes a decent amount of a difference, to be quite honest, especially in PvP content, is being able to obviously extend that status buff extension to allies, and then of course the enemy's buff reduction as well to additional actions. It's going to help a lot in PvP content as well, so I think that's really solid. So let's see her first skill. Vortex Fire reduces agility fire res to all enemies by 40% and increases damage taken by AoE attacks by 40% and removes debuffs given to yourself. And obviously the main feature of the additional action is the fact that it can increase the status effects of all allies by 2 turns and reduce the status buffs of all enemies by 2 turns as well, and which is really, really nice. I think that's a very, very solid. I think there's a bit of a miscommunication. I think this is right. This is right, this is wrong, because it doesn't extend status debuffs on enemies. It reduces the status buffs of all enemies by 2 turns, but that's still very solid, of course, giving yourself a little bit of an advantage there, because you're able to reduce the amount of turns a enemy's buff is active as well, right, which is really, really handy on the second turn. But yeah, the first skill is very solid. Like I said, there's some really good agility control going on here. 40% agility down, the fire res is going down, the AoE damage is increasing. Furthermore, any debuffs you have is being removed as well. It's very solid overall. And then of course they go on to add that the 40% debuffs that can be given to all enemies is at the maximum value, and if you can prepare magic res debuffs from the side, you can further increase your firepower. In addition, after removing the debuff received from the enemy, the fire magic power attack of the additional action acquired has excellent power and firepower, and extends the buff of the ally that was activated earlier to reduce also the buff of the enemy as well. So basically what they're saying here is effectively, if you have that magic res debuff as well going, like I said, if you have Thunder Lafia alongside her, right, you might be able to get a lot of damage from both characters, of course, along with Hero Festa Elise. Furthermore, you're able to also remove the debuff from the enemy, allowing yourself to get more damage on your additional action, and then that will also help extend the buffs of all allies, and also reduce the amount of turns the buffs are up on the enemy as well, which helps massively. Furthermore, if you take the initiative, as they say, and activate it from skill 1 to skill 2, you may be able to aim for a powerful buff chase. I assume they mean a buff skill link effectively here. When using it in PvP battles, try strategic actions that emphasize on strengthening or weakening, and bring it to an advantageous development at once with a magic attack on the second turn. Possess a valuable technique that can simultaneously grant physical and magic immunity for one time. This is what I said, right? Her second skill is able to not only recover MP, that reduces the disadvantage of, taking a lot of MP on that second skill. You are able to get an ally's boost in strength, magic, agility, fire damage, and ailment res. But also on top of that, you are able to get, and this is the most important thing, a free 1x null to both physical and magic attacks. So that is fantastic, because you're able to then protect your team a little bit better, in all honesty. So I think it's very, very solid, and it's just such a nice ability, in all honesty. And then let's take a look at this as well, right? If it can be activated with technique 1 to technique 2, skill 1 to skill 2, it is very possible to remove the debuff received on the first turn, like Thunder Lyra, the Thunder Magic Lyra that I showed you guys, that I said that this Fina is a straight upgrade from this one, of course, right? So it is a straight upgrade from her, in my personal opinion, who has a similar technique composition and connected to an additional attack. Powerful, and in addition, the buff that can be given to all allies lasts one turn, but among them it can give them maximum agility buff and status abnormality resistance, and it is possible to extend the number of turns by extending the buff, of course, with the additional action. So the number of turns can be increased. Without worrying about it, you can expect it to be mainly active in PvP battles. In addition, since it is possible to apply an invalid effect that is effective against both physical and magic to all allies there, a strategy is to activate technique 2 on the first turn. So they're saying that basically, instead of doing skill 1 to skill 2, you could in theory do something like skill 2 on the first turn instead. It is a possibility there. Depending on the adventure assist team you organize, it'll be active. It is a performance that can be considered an option to make a business trip to other than a magic party. So yeah, basically what they're saying is this Fina is amazing, basically is what they're saying. This Fina is amazing. So in my personal opinion, I'm very, 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 very happy with the way they designed this Fina. Really strong. This is the designs we were looking forward to when it came to this anniversary, and I'm glad that we're finally getting to it. Hopefully part 3 of the anniversary shows the same level of abilities and skills, because yeah, I'm hoping for something really, really good this Tuesday and Thursday, of course, when the news live stream happens, and of course we get the update going live respectively, of course. Let me know what you guys think though in the comment section down below. Do you guys like these units? Where would you rank them in the comment section down below? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Bye bye.